Godzilla destroys the Marvel Universe now continues, with Godzilla making his way to Wakanda. And now the Black Panther, King of Wakanda. He has plans for the King of Monsters, but he just needs a little more time to get these plans in action. But until then, he's hoping that the Hulk can hold Godzilla off. So let's see how that goes, because this is definitely going to be different than the last time we had a Hulk versus Godzilla issue. But with that said, if you're enjoying these videos, be sure to drop a like, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and don't forget to hit that bell up top to get all notifications. Alright, so coming back, this continues in the negative zone, where Reed, Ben, Sue, Captain America, and Mole Man have found themselves after Reed's attempt to trap Godzilla here went left, like we saw back in issue 1. So now we find Reed with his head embiggened, so he can allocate a bit more computing power towards finding a solution to get them out of this. And fortunately, it's at this time when future Herbie finds them with a message from future Johnny Storm. And this was something that we got a little bit of a tease of back in issue 2, when we got a glimpse into the year 2099, and we saw that Godzilla was still a problem, which is why the Fantastic Four of that time attempted this Hail Mary to send Herbie to the negative zone so he could find the Fantastic Four and fix the past, which Herbie was now able to do since he can track his way back to the Baxter building, because like we saw, a huge portion of that building was taken to the negative zone with Reed and the others. But all we're really shown in the here and now is that Herbie successfully made it back in time, and that he was able to find Reed and the others to give them this message from Johnny, which includes a solution for how they can get home. But right after we see this, we jump back over to Wakanda, where we find T'Challa welcoming the X-Men and the Avengers. And he also tells them here, just going off of the path that Godzilla's heading in, he knows Godzilla's accepted his challenge. But also they've noticed a number of powerful undersea earthquakes coming from Atlantis, which let him know that there's a good chance that Namor's already engaged Godzilla. And as T'Challa tells everyone that he wants to show them what they've been working on, the X-Men and the Avengers get caught up, and Magic lets them know here that she tried making a stepping disc big enough to disappear Godzilla, only for him to dive to the bottom of the ocean and avoid it. So T'Challa tells her, yes Magic, we've thrown all our best at this monster, only to come up short. However, Mole Man discovered a vibranium alloy that may present a weakness to the monster. We worked at our fastest pace and have a new armored personnel carrier with hull plating made of the vibranium alloy, as he shows them the Mecha Adaptoid Centurion Mark Avenger, which sounds like it was named by Microsoft. You know they can't come up with no simple names. But as of now, we're not shown this solution. Not yet. We're just more or less given a glimpse into this keynote presentation. But after seeing this huge mech, Cyclops is like, well, who's gonna pilot it? And T'Challa tells him, yes. He's like, we all are. Like, you get a steering wheel, you get a steering wheel, everybody gets a steering wheel. But really, while T'Challa's getting everyone set up, that's gonna take time to do, which is why he also wanted Banner to come to Wakanda so the Hulk could face Godzilla and buy them some time. And it's around this time when Godzilla arrives and Banner sees him and he's like, oh, here we go. And there's a moment here where Banner looks at Godzilla like, man, because Bruce kind of finds him relatable and he thinks there's a chance that Godzilla just wants to be left alone. But as it stands, without a way to communicate with Godzilla, in the here and now, Bruce has just got to do what he's got to do. So he injects himself with his serum infused with Giant Man's pin particles, and he tells the Hulk, GLHF. And this solution works insanely well, because now they've got a giant-sized Hulk who's ready to fight Godzilla. And Hulk is 1000% on board with this, because he's like, okay, Banner made himself giant, so now Hulk is biggest and strongest one there is. And Godzilla wants all the smoke, so he lets off that signature roar that basically translates to let's get it poppin'. But right off the rip, when both the giant-sized Hulk and Godzilla exchange hits, first Hulk gets a good hit on Godzilla, only for the King of Monsters to whip right around with that big tail. Now this has Hulk like, man, that lizard hit harder than Thing or Thor. And that's where Hulk grabs the giant-sized vibranium alloy-infused hammer and puts it to use. And he's like, now Hulk have a hammer, like puny stupid Thor. And after that, he grabs the axe and he says to Godzilla, Hulk asks question, do you want to keep your tail? Only for Godzilla to whip it around and hit the Hulk with it again. And I just imagine Godzilla's like, oh, you want my tail? All right, here you go. Whack out. And now that the fight between these two is well underway, Shuri reaches out to T'Challa to give him the update, saying Shuri to Black Panther, Banner timed the pin particles perfectly, and the Hulk has engaged the enemy. So T'Challa responds saying, yes, our Richter scales are keeping us informed. The Gladiator is inbound. Because again, the whole point of Banner getting out there is to buy them some time, while T'Challa gets the other heroes ready. Because right now we find T'Challa getting Cyclops into position, with him leading Scott to this room that has him like, is this where you want me? It kind of looks like a cell. And T'Challa tells him, in a way, it is. And that's when Scott realizes a huge portion of this room is made of ruby quartz, just like Scott's visor. So he takes his off because he knows he won't be needing it for a little while. But back over with the Hulk and Godzilla, we jump back in with Godzilla roaring in the Hulk's face, point blank. And it has the Hulk like, Hulk deaf now. And I imagine the Hulk saying this like someone who cannot hear themselves speak, but I'm not even gonna attempt to sound like that. No, I'm not gonna do it. But this just leads to Hulk slamming Godzilla down on that huge vibranium axe while telling him Godzilla have rage, but not like Hulk. So Hulk just starts stomping him, only for this to lead to Godzilla just grabbing that foot and twisting it up something serious. And as the fight continues, Hulk bites Godzilla. But when Godzilla bites Hulk back, that atomic breath starts to charge up. And now Hulk hears that sound and he's like, oh boy. Well, you can just tell by the look in Hulk's eyes, he knows it's gonna hurt. And the next thing we see is Godzilla shoot his atomic breath right through the giant-sized Hulk, which now just has the big guy like, man, I need a break. But Godzilla keeps going because he uses his tail to get the vibranium axe out of his back before letting out that victory roar. But then someone else approaches, saying, you wretched, foul beast, you cur, you trespassed in my kingdom, you slew many of my finest warriors, and you thought me dead. But here stands Namor, first mutant, and king of Atlantis. Now comes a reckoning. The penalty for the destruction of Atlantis is death. Because now Namor's brought out Ebera, horror of the deep, who's like this huge shrimp-looking creature from the 60s. Got his own movie and everything. So it's almost like a classic rematch between the two in a way, between Godzilla and this creature, just now in Marvel with the addition of Namor, who also gets a hit in by catching Godzilla with a sonic clap before heading over to help the Hulk, his dear friend and fellow defender, who's now reverted back down to a normal size Hulk. So Namor picks him up and gets Hulk out of there, as Hulk reverts back to Bruce Banner. And now this fight between Godzilla and Ebera, it doesn't go on for long, because Godzilla just puts that tail back to use, knocking the poor fellow way back into the ocean, which now leaves nothing but space and opportunity between Godzilla and the rest of Wakanda. So whatever T'Challa's plan was to stop Godzilla, he's got to put it into action now, because every possible distraction has ran its course. And now this is where we're told the Black Panther knew the dangers of baiting Godzilla to his kingdom, but the Avenger knew that he would not face this threat alone. And that's when we see Cyclops in that ruby quartz room, asking Black Panther if he's ready before letting off his optic blast. And from what it looks like, Cyclops would just charge it up, so T'Challa can then use those blasts at his discretion, because after Scott lets off this blast, he's like, your first shot is locked and loaded. And right after that, when T'Challa says fire, we see the Mecha Adaptoid Centurion come down on Godzilla with a nasty kick accompanied by that optic blast. And really, for all we know, it's possible that this mech could hold multiple optic blast charges, because there's a lot going on with this thing. And we'll see in the next issue how exactly they use everyone here, because it's packed with the Avengers, X-Men, Human Torch of the Fantastic Four. It looks like it has both Peter and Miles as web shooters, which is hilarious. They've got Storm in there, and on the feet, for the 2 feet, they have what appears to be Quicksilver and North Star. So yeah, this combination is about to be crazy. But that'll do it for this one. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like or a hype, and let me know if you think this mecha's got a chance against Godzilla, because I'm kind of looking at it like, is it better? There's a lot going on here. And really, if it's not enough, then Godzilla just might destroy this whole universe. Just saying. And so now real quick, I want to give a special shout out to all the patrons. Thank you guys for all of your support. And for anyone who's new here, who wants more information on how to support the channel, I got a link below where you can go to patreon.com/dopespill. But that'll do it for this one, guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and we'll do it again on the next one. All right, later.